Hello and welcome to Travel Market Life. In this episode, we have an exclusive interview with celebrity chef from the United States, Mary Sue Milliken. Mary Sue helped pioneer Santa Monica's local and sustainable food scene, popularizing the city farmers markets. She started her career peeling garlic and winning a James Beard and Julia Child Award. Mary Sue is widely celebrated for her achievements in California and beyond. Mary Sue created the Women Chefs and Restaurateurs in 1993, a resource for female food professionals that offers scholarships as well as mentoring and networking opportunities. She also co-founded Regarding Her, a non-profit organization devoted to the advancement of female food and beverage entrepreneurs in Los Angeles and beyond. Today, we will be learning more about her perspective to get more women and leadership in hospitality.
Welcome to Travel Market Life, your companion for industry insights and professional business development. Travel Market Life. Join us by webcast, video or podcast.
Hello, good day, Mary Sue. Thank you ever so much for joining us. I missed you recently on your visit to the UK. How did it go?
Oh, thank you so much, Ryan. It's a pleasure to be here. And I had such a wonderful visit in the UK, cooking and entertaining all kinds of travel professionals and talking about Santa Monica, my journey in the restaurant industry, and, hospitality in general. It was an awesome trip.
And now, was this just a holiday trip to get a chance to talk to a few of these wonderful professionals, or did you have a mission that you were trying to achieve?
I was there with the city of Santa Monica to introduce some of the flavors of Mexico and Southern California and all the wonderful places to eat and to stay in our lovely community and the farmers markets and all the reasons to visit California.
Excellent. That's wonderful. I mean, it does sound divine. Now, you actually, as I said in the introduction, you started in the industry peeling garlic. I mean, I remember some of those days as a pot washer when I was about 15 in hospitality. But now you are an acclaimed chef and own multiple critically acclaimed restaurants. I mean, it's a story we often hear in hospitality, right? People rising through the ranks. How true is that opportunity to climb the career ladder in hospitality today?
It's such a great question. And I think about it a lot because I love this industry so much. I love the camaraderie, the feeling of, theater or sport. For every day you're throwing a lot of curveballs and as a person in hospitality, you're constantly on, whether you're in the kitchen cooking the food to order and you've got to make sure you adjust to whatever crazy things are happening if the plumbing backs up, or if you're in the front of the house and working to make people's experience the best it can possibly be. And it really fits my personality. And I think it's a great fit for many kinds of people, but it's also can be a brutal industry with long hours and working, weekends and nights and when everyone else is on holiday. But I think that has deterred, especially women who want to have families and be mothers, from being super committed to the industry or from being, I think women have been looked over in many respects because of, it's not an industry that's hospitable to parenting. But I think that is changing and getting better. And I think that of any industry, be it, tech or I don't know, medicine or anything. I think the hospitality industry is going to be well suited to shift and make a more hospitable, arena to work in for parents and for everybody.
You'd mentioned a lot of different skills that you learn there, and you say the industry can be quite brutal. And you mentioned the long hours and odd shifts maybe compared to the standard 9 to 5. But there's quite a bit of pressure in it, isn't there, in the job at the same time?
There is, but a lot of people thrive on pressure. I think I'm one of those people who love that. I went to chef school when I was 17, straight out of high school, early actually, and I I could have gone to college. I could have been an investment banker. Sometimes I wonder why I didn't do that, but no, I'm kidding, because it's been such a good profession to me. But I do think that it suits a certain amount of us out there in the world, as far as the energy it takes to be a part of the industry. And I think that we deserve the industry to be more welcoming and more, I think we've been through the phase of glorifying the nitty gritty kind of craziness of it. I think now we need to create an industry that really takes care of everyone and is equitable, and it has, you know, even the lowest paying jobs are paying high enough to live without working two jobs, to pay your rent and to feed your family. And that hasn't been the case in the past.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I completely agree with you there. And you talked about that point of going to class at 17. Now, I understand that you were just one of two women in this class of 100 men back in 1977. Now, when you visit schools and kitchens today, are you seeing this balance or imbalance change?
Oh, completely. I think we're at least 50-50 women to men in almost every chef school I go to. And I go to schools all over the world. I'm headed to Armenia next, and I will be visiting 4 different culinary programs to talk to students. But it's interesting because there are so many more women in schools, but still very few women are in places of power, in positions of power, as far as like executive chefs or directors of, food and beverage. So you have to wonder why that is. And that's one of the reasons I'm so focused on, regarding her and Women Chefs and Restaurateurs, organizations that can really look at what it takes to shift the industry so that it can attract and keep women. I think the industry will be better when women have half the power and make half the important decisions. It'll just be a more balanced kind of, leadership, which I think is always better in any profession. But I do think that it'll help the industry as a whole. And that's something we need to figure out.
Now, I say it's great to see that you're seeing more women and more diversity, certainly in the schooling, in the development of their careers. So what is it do you feel needs to be done to either encourage more women into these management and leadership positions, or for women to see themselves in those roles?
I think everybody, especially men in power, need to really think about and put themselves in those positions of really wanting to understand what it is that are the barriers for women, which often are, confidence. We don't raise our daughters to be as strong and confident as we raise our sons. It's just a fact, and it's not anything that we do intentionally, I don't think, but it is something that is changing slowly and is important. But when we interview different folks for positions, oftentimes I see, teenage or, early 20s boys will answer questions so differently from girls at that same age. So confident and strong, and absolutely I can do this. And they believe that. I think girls and women just come from a place of a little bit more careful to not overcommit and underdeliver. So they tend to sell themselves short. I think we can, when we're advertising for positions, we can word things in a way that women will be attracted to. We can also just be very intentional about holding ourselves to standards of gender equity among our ranks. And I think that'll be helpful.
Brilliant. I mean, I know that you created the Women Chefs and Restaurateurs all the way back in 1993. So, yes, I can't believe it or not, celebrating 31 years now. And this is a resource for female food professionals which offers those scholarships and mentoring. Tell me a bit more about that and how it's managed to evolve, and how you've inspired perhaps other parts of the industry to really absorb the challenges that you have in front of you.
Well, I think actually Women Chefs and Restaurateurs has actually evolved into Regarding Her, which is a little bit more of a local. We're spreading out into different Women Chefs and Restaurateurs with basically national programs. I find that working on a local level with really deep roots in a community, we have 1,000 members of Regarding Her in the Los Angeles area. And that enables us to really create a network of people that are there for you as a young, professional working to move up in the industry. You have a lot of resources. We also have expanded to Washington, D.C., and we're going to be in Chicago and Nashville and Boston, Philadelphia next. So I think our strategy is to create a real network of people, of mostly women that are already at different stages of their careers, who are connected through a social network and through events and programming. And we do a lot of also, seminars on financial literacy, on how to work your PR and marketing and social media, on how to negotiate contracts, things that I never had the luxury of being taught. But I learned over the course of the last 45 years. You bootstrap it and you learn. And I asked a lot of questions. I asked a lot of questions of men who were very, very successful in my industry, and they were so helpful, so open, so generous with their time and money and ideas. And that has been a huge help to my career. And I really believe in mentoring and helping each other.
As you said, you work all the way around the world. You were just here in the UK. Do you see similar opportunities in the UK and Europe, or what could our region be doing better? A bit, perhaps, in a similar vein to what you're doing there in the US, to really harness those opportunities for women and open the doors much wider.
Yes, I see a huge opportunity everywhere I go. And I think what I said earlier about being intentional, I didn't realize that I really have in my own career, I get invited to do many, many, many things. And I'm very fortunate to have a high profile, be, pretty well regarded. I have a big, social media following. I had TV shows and written 6 cookbooks. I didn't realize that I had the power to actually ask questions and nudge people in the right direction. So, for example, when someone invites me to come to, say, Hawaii and work and do a tasting with 7 different chefs, now what I say to them is, who do you have on your list? Is it a diverse group? Are there some old, some young? Are there people of color? Are there as many women as men? Because that's the group I want to be a part of. And I don't want to really join this event unless we can figure out a way to make that be part of it. And people are so receptive. They're like, oh my gosh, yeah, I didn't think of that. I don't have any Black people. Do you know anyone? And I'll find, I help them find people. And then so every time I get invited to do anything, to talk on a panel, to be, cooking a fundraiser, and I get asked to do this stuff multiple times per week, I just use my platform to kind of bring up the idea of equity and parity in the industry for everyone. And it seems to be working. And I think that's something that everyone can do, no matter how big or small their career is.
No, completely get that. I mean, I'm involved in a lot of events. Obviously, I have this podcast and always intentionally trying my best to get that even split of diversity, of gender within the conversations that I'm having. Because as you say, you need to inspire everybody and you need to have a difference of opinion. It's lovely to hear different perspectives as well, isn't it, when you're having these conversations?
Absolutely. And I do think that it takes a little extra work. It takes a little more thought, and the payoffs are enormous, absolutely enormous. I'm the people that I've met, the most wonderful people, just through Regarding Her in the last 4 years. We started during the pandemic, but of our 1,000 members in LA County and North Orange County, we're 54% women of color, and It's been great because I've been able to make really good connections into communities that I wasn't before that exposed to: Asian American, African American, Hispanic, Latinas. And it's been great because I now have a lot more people to incorporate into all the things that I do.
So, just to end our interview, then, Mary Sue, what two pieces of advice do you give a business director wanting to get more women into the workforce?
Well, I think that doing a research and understanding the way women's minds work and how the what barriers they face in the industry different from the men that one hires is really important. You have to really want to understand what is holding women back. And with every employee that I have to treat each one differently. And I have 450 employees, but I try to really understand. Some people really want to, have a career trajectory. They want to get a raise or a promotion every year, and they want to have a path forward. Others aren't necessarily wanting that, but they really want a stable career, and they want, a solid. You have to kind of understand the differences in people, and I think that's what makes great hospitalitarians. I think we who are successful at it, we really take the time to understand not only our guests and our customers, but our team and what they can use. And then, understanding them is the first step. And then creating an environment that really feeds women and men equally, I think is important. And I have a hard time myself finding enough women. And you would think that, I know I have a great fondness for Asma Khan in London because she has an all women workforce. I actually couldn't do that in LA or Vegas or Palm Springs where I have restaurants. But I'm always trying to think about how to do that better. So I understand the difficulties, and I think it's just important for the second, part is to just create that environment that really works for women.
Well, Mary Sue, thank you ever so much for those contributions and giving those insights to us today. It's just been wonderful to have the opportunity to talk to you.
Well, thank you, Ryan. It's always a pleasure, and I hope to visit with you again sometime.
Absolutely. Thank you very much indeed. So that was award-winning chef Mary Sue Milliken on empowering and elevating women in the culinary industry. For more information, do check out our description in the podcast. I'm your host, Ryan Haynes. Thanks for listening. Ciao for now.
For more, go to Travel Market Life. The music sensation by Zach Nelson is reproduced under license from Storyblocks. Travel Market Life is a Haynes Marcoms digital marketing agency production, serving the travel and technology industries.